Dillian the Body Snatcher White here. It's a champ. Big up to Sporting Icon. Subscribe. Otherwise, I might pay you guys a visit.
The Ring Magazine have just released their new heavyweight world rankings. Of course, the top 10, including their champion, Tyson Fury. Now, there are a couple of changes on this one compared to last month. Of course, I'll point them out, as I always do, as this video goes along. I've already done the WBA and the WBO for this month of November, so go check out those two. I'm still waiting on the WBC and the IBF to update theirs, but of course, as soon as they do, videos will follow suit as always. So I do this each and every month, along with all the other content that I do as well. So if you love the sport of boxing, if you like to be kept updated with what's going on in the heavyweight division as far as the rankings are concerned, click that subscribe button. It's free. It will change your life. It's like winning the lottery. And welcome, of course, as well. Now, before we get into this one, of course, a lot of people have asked me why don't I do rankings for the other weight divisions. And I have done beforehand, but it's all about productivity, really. Each of these videos takes me about 2 hours from start to finish to record it. And then, of course, put the imageries on top afterwards. So it's not really productive of me if nobody really wants to watch those videos. So that's the reason why. But if enough of you ask, then of course you're going to twist my arm and do them. I would love to do them. Anyway, let me know in the comment section below what other weight divisions you want me to cover. Now, the Ring Magazine. Tyson Fury is, of course, the Ring Magazine heavyweight world champion. 2-time, in fact. Undefeated, 31 wins with 1 draw. That 1 draw, of course, was in the first fight with Deontay Wilder, where most of us feel Tyson Fury did get robbed in that fight. Most of us feel that he won that fight on points. But, hey, what can you do? Boxing, politics, shenanigans, all that kind of good stuff. Of course, he successfully defended that belt against Deontay Wilder last time out, along with his newly crowned WBC belt as well. And lineal, for anybody who puts any kind of stock into lineal. Next time out, looks like it could well be the body snatcher, Dillian White. I'm pumped about that one if that one happens. Anyway, move on. Number 1 is the unified heavyweight world champion, Oleksandr Usyk, 19-0. Of course, he got those unified belts, as in the WBA, WBO, IBF and IBO, from defeating Anthony Joshua at the Tottenham Hotspur Football Stadium last time out. Of course, there will be a rematch as well. So Usyk is the unified world champion, but he's also the former undisputed cruiserweight champion as well. So he's currently ranked number 1. Number 2, Anthony Joshua. 24 wins and 2 defeats. Those 2 defeats, Andy Ruiz Jr. and, of course, last time out to Oleksandr Usyk. He's already avenged his first defeat against Andy Ruiz Jr. Can he get revenge and avenge his second loss against Oleksandr Usyk in either March or April of next year in their rematch, where he could become a 3-time unified heavyweight world champion? Joshua, of course, has an absolutely outstanding resume at the heavyweight division. Those who disagree are those who don't particularly like him. What can you do? People are entitled to like who they like and dislike who they dislike. Number 3, Deontay Wilder, 42 wins, 2 defeats and 1 draw. The 2 defeats and 1 draw are at the hands of the Gypsy King, Tyson Fury. He is former WBC World Heavyweight Champion, defended that belt around, was it 10 times? Okay, not against the best opposition. Okay, most of them were Uber drivers, but what can you do? On paper, it looks pretty good. Big knockout power. Last time out, he got knocked out by Tyson Fury. But either way, he's ranked number 3. I will go back over these in a second as well. Number 4, the body snatcher, Dillian White, the WBC interim World Heavyweight Champion, and of course, mandatory challenger to now Tyson Fury, the WBC World Heavyweight Champion, Ring Magazine Champion, and lineal, again, for those who put stock into that one. So Dillian White, 28 wins and 2 defeats. His 2 defeats, of course, to Anthony Joshua and Alexander Povetkin, one of which he has avenged against Alexander Povetkin. Time will tell if he ever gets revenge on Anthony Joshua at some point. We'll have to wait and see. But either way, more importantly, he's going to be fighting Tyson Fury next. I'm really looking forward to that fight. Number 5, Joseph Parker, 29 wins and 2 defeats. 2 defeats, 1 to Dillian White, 1 to Anthony Joshua. He's got a rematch with Derek Chisora in December with a very, very good undercard, which was announced yesterday. So looking forward to that particular card. Joseph Parker from New Zealand, of course, is the former WBO World Heavyweight Champion with a very decent resume. A Derek Chisora, a Hughie Fury, a Carlos Takam and others. He does actually have a pretty good resume. I think a lot of people overlook that. with Joseph Parker, because sometimes he does stink the place out, let's be honest. But overall, he is actually a very, very good fighter. But currently, he's ranked number 5. Number 6, Andy Ruiz Jr. 34 wins and 2 defeats. His 2 defeats were both at World Championship level. One to Joseph Parker when them two fought for the vacant belt, and his other defeat to Anthony Joshua, of course, whom he previously defeated in the fight before. So Andy Ruiz Jr. is former unified WBA, WBO, IBF and IBO world heavyweight champion, the first Mexican heavyweight to be a world champion. So he's currently ranked number 6. What's happening with him next? Who knows? Apparently could be out in December or January. Personally, I'd love to see him take on a Luis Ortiz or a Otto Wallin, somebody in-house. Let's see that. Maybe a Wilder fight, who knows? Number 7, King Kong Luis Ortiz from Cuba, 32 wins and 2 defeats. His 2 defeats were both knockout losses to Deontay Wilder. And to be fair, in both of those fights, he was handily beating Deontay Wilder. But ultimately, it's the result that really matters. But Ortiz doesn't have the best resume in the world. In fact, he tends to turn down more fights than anybody else, really. He's turned down Anthony Joshua, he's turned down Dillian White, he's recently turned down Joyce, he turned down Filip Herkovich, he turned down Otto Wallin, and quite a few others. So who's he actually going to fight next? Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. He's never been world champion as an amateur, never really achieved anything, never qualified for the Olympics. He had a whole ton of fights, was it 350 fights, something like that? But anyway, he's a decent southpaw fighter. Why not? Number 8, Michael Hunter, with a record of 20 wins, 1 defeat and 1 draw. The draw was to Alexander Povetkin. His defeat was to Oleksandr Usyk when they were both campaigning at cruiserweight. But Michael Hunter does have a very solid resume, such as Kuzmin and a Martin Bakole and a couple of others. And even the draw with Povetkin was actually a very good result for him. Some people feel that Michael Hunter won that fight. But unfortunately, he has had the opportunity to become the IBF mandatory by fighting a Filip Herkovich, but he turned down that fight. Why? To go earn more money on Triller against a Mike, whatever his name was. What can you do? Hopefully Michael Hunter will actually step it up next time out, but he's currently ranked number 8. Number 9, Joe Joyce, the 2016 Olympic silver medalist, which could actually be overturned by to a gold after some of the investigations, by the looks of it, has found that there was some scandaling, should we call it that, some corruption even, for the scoring with his fight against Tony Yoka. So we'll have to wait and see if Joe Joyce gets that gold medal or not. Either way, he's the current WBO mandatory challenger. I know he hasn't fought a final eliminator, but Frank Warren and his connections with the WBO, what can you do? But Joe Joyce, 13-0, a very, very good resume so far. Daniel Dubois, a Carlos Takam, a Bermain Stavern. Yes, I'm mentioning these names because Joe Joyce is only 13-0. Okay, but so far looks pretty good. How will he get on against some of the other top guys? Time will tell. He's not getting any younger, but so far really doing the business. Number 10, Filip Herkovich. Now, Filip Herkovich, very, very good fighter. 2016 Olympic bronze medalist. 13-0. Again, a very good resume so far as well. He is in pole position to fight for the IBF mandatory position, but for some reason he can't get an opponent. He seems to be one of the most avoided heavyweights currently, where his co-manager or co-promoter even in a Callis Howland has gone down pretty much the entire 15 of the IBF to try and find an opponent, and everybody is turning him down. I'll have to wait and see what he does next. Would it be Martin Bakole? Again, Martin Bakole potentially looks like he could be fighting Tony Yoka next. So we'll have to wait and see who he fights. Personally, I'd love to see Filip Herkovich take on, say, a Huey Fury or something like that. I think that'd be brilliant. Anyway, so that is the top 10 of the Ring magazine. Now, changes that I personally would make, I would probably remove Michael Hunter and maybe put in a Tony Yoka. Someone like that. That's my own personal view on that one. But of course, the changes, Joe Joyce, he has been moved up from number 10 to number 9, and Filip Herkovich has been planted in to number 10. Reason being, Oscar Rivas was ranked number 9, but Oscar Rivas is now the WBC Bridgerweight World Champion. So, of course, now he's no longer campaigning at heavyweight. So that's why he's dropped from that one. But other changes I potentially would make, I think Luis Ortiz is ranked a little bit too high. I keep saying this. Who's he beat? Best win is 2015 Bryant Jennings, who Bryant Jennings come off a loss the fight beforehand to Vladimir Klitschko. But that's Luis Ortiz's best win. Followed by maybe Dave Allen. And maybe a Tony Thompson. But that's pretty much it. Let's be honest about it. Maybe a Mallet Scott. But I think, for me, I like to see Ortiz fight somebody who's actually alive. Somebody who actually has a bit of a pulse. Look at this top 10. There are fighters he can fight. Andy Ruiz Jr. There's no reason why that fight can't be made. It's an in-house PBC fight. No reason in the world why not. Ortiz versus Michael Hunter. Why not? Ortiz, who's turned down Filip Herkovich. Why would you do that? Go fight Filip Herkovich if you're that good. I think Ortiz is ranked too high. I don't disagree with him being a top 10, but I think he's ranked too high. Deontay Wilder, he's been knocked out in his last 2 fights to a guy who don't really knock out people, and that's Tyson Fury. So should he be ranked that high? I mean, personally, I'll probably put it in round about 4th or 5th. But, I mean, listen, I can't hate on him being ranked number 3. We do have to give him some respect because he was WBC World Champion. Yes, he was fighting bin men, and he did come unstuck when he bit that cherry in Tyson Fury, who he thought was easy work and finished, and turned out that he wasn't. But what can you do? But overall, I think the Ring Magazine have done a pretty good job of this one. I can't complain too much with it. I can nitpick it for sure, but overall, not too bad. Not too bad. I think if anybody was to put together a top 10, it probably wouldn't be too far off that. Maybe, I'm not talking about positions, but I'm just talking about those 10 fighters, just jiggle them around however, but I think that most people will probably have those. With the exception of me, I would probably change Michael Hunter for a Tony Yoka or someone like that, or whoever. Okay, but anyway, that's my thoughts. You drop me yours, click thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll catch you all in the next video.